Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan, Astrologer and Life Navigator, and I'm bringing you an astrology update for the next new moon, which is happening on the 21st of October. Hopefully you're watching this a little bit before the new moon, because there are energies building towards that new moon, because obviously the new moon isn't alone in the sky. It's part of a whole collection of other energies. Astrology really is the study and the looking at the energies, the feeling into the energies at any one time. So new moon is a chance every month when the sun and the moon come together in the same sign to reset, to rebalance, to refocus, and to plant seeds for the next season, the next month. So when we look at the new moon in Libra, this is no ordinary Libran new moon. It's actually got a very Scorpionic Plutonian feel to it, which you might be feeling, which I'll try and unpack for you, because it's a very unusual Libra new moon. So new moon on its own, if we just took the new moon, which is the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine in the sign of Libra. Libra is what we call a cardinal air sign, and cardinal energy is very pioneering, initiating, very strong energy. In air is about communication. It's about air. It's about being able to convey thoughts and be able to speak and hear and find information. That's all the realm of air. So it's quite airy. When you look at the symbolism of Libra, it is the sign of the scales. It's the sign that relates to peace, balance, harmony. That sort of out breath where everything is balanced. That is what Libra's about, wanting that peace and balance and harmony. I often think of the song by John Lennon, imagine a world where there are no wars. Imagine a world where everybody loves each other, where we live in harmony, there are no barriers and boundaries, fences, countries. So that's the utopian kind of vision of Libra, and that is often what we sort of look at and try to find this peace in amidst a lot of turmoil. And I think this new moon is showing us that in Technicolor. I drew a card, and the card is incredibly valid for this new moon, so stay tuned for that one. It really just appeared, and it's the first time I've ever seen the card, so that's a sign too. So if you look at the new moon, it's not on its own in this chart. So without giving you too much astrology, just to give you a sense of it, it's actually caught up in what we call a grand cross. A grand cross is where you have a planet or two planets or three planets or planetary energy here, and then that is square to some other over here, and that's square to some over here, and square to over here, excuse me, which is a grand cross. And that is quite a dynamic, not necessarily comfortable energy, because each energy is square to the other energy, which is pulling it and pushing it, and is kind of pushing us to a tipping point, is pushing us to an edge. I sort of see edges as those places that we get to in life where things get quite intense and we tend to want to give up. And if we push through, we often break through to the other side. So I see that this new moon is very much that energy. So you've got the sun and the moon in Libra, opposite Chiron and Eris. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's where we have our deep core wounds, very often of not being good enough, not being heard, fears of rejection, fears of abandonment, fears that we're not supported. Whatever Chiron is in your particular chart, you would have that particular wound. So that's worth exploring. This is more in the collective because we all feel it. And the sun and the moon opposite this wound, it's the wound in Aries, which is the wound of not being heard, the wound of not being good enough, the wound of feeling abandoned, alone, at a loose end, unsupported, and definitely not good enough. I'm going to reiterate that one. Now, along with that wound, we have Eris, and Eris is the element in the chart which relates to discord. So there can be this feeling that there's something that is activating us So in other words, we've got our relationship, we've got our need for peace and balance and harmony, and we've got the need for relationship to be in peaceful, balanced, harmonious connection with other people. But then along comes these two sort of triggering energies, which might say, but there's this that's actually coming up to the surface that needs to be looked at and needs to possibly be discussed, because the sun and the moon are in Libra. It's an air sign. It's communication in relationship. So there's a rebalancing there and a looking into the shadow, looking into the wound, not being absorbed by it, but being conscious of it. Now, back to the Grand Cross, the sun and the moon and Chiron and Eris are square to Pluto. Good old Pluto, which has just turned direct after being retrograde for a long time, and Pluto is bringing things up to the surface, as Pluto always does. And Pluto's caught up in this. Pluto is then opposite Jupiter. So that's about enough of astrology for that. It's a Grand Cross. It feels like hidden truths may be coming up to the surface. Emotional issues, discomforts around family, around home, around security, very possibly for some people could be fears of AI, because Pluto in Aquarius is representing this huge escalation in AI. So a lot of people are very nervous about how that's actually going to play out in terms of finances, work opportunities or lack thereof, or sort of AI taking over in terms of control or surveillance. So there's a lot of nervousness around that. And there are a lot of truths coming out. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more truths emerging on the world stage. We're going to be seeing in the next few weeks more kind of systemic upheaval as the powers that be try to actually gain more power. And there will be more power imbalances. So that's the sort of difficult part of it. Then in addition to that, we also have what we call a grand trine, and it's a grand water trine. And it's really interesting because as I opened this and as I started talking, we actually had a downpour of rain, and we've been experiencing a huge drought where I live. So that's beautiful. It's still raining really gently, which is really beautiful. And a grand water trine is kind of the release point out of that sort of stuck energy. So when we look at what we have there, we have a very Scorpio theme, because we have the planet Mars and Mercury, as well as Black Moon Lilith, which is the fierce feminine, in the sign of Scorpio. Now Mars is our sort of, it can be seen as the aggressive planet. It's the masculine energy that wants to go out and conquer. It's connected to Mercury, which is the planet of the mind. It's the planet of communication. And then hanging around right there is Black Moon Lilith. So that is quite big Scorpionic, Plutonic energy. Bearing in mind what I've just said about Chiron and Eris and Pluto, which is Scorpionic. Pluto rules Scorpio. So Pluto is involved in the Grand Cross, and it's the ruler of these three entities in Scorpio. So that brings in a very Scorpionic energy. When you look at Scorpio, it's the sign of transformation, depth, intensity, death, D-E-A-T-H, in terms of something dying, so something new can be reborn. So that's why I'm saying this is bringing in a very transformational theme into what is normally a nice Libran light, let's all be peaceful and harmonious. It's kind of the opposite of that. Libra does not want to go into the shadow. Libra wants to keep the balance and the peace and the harmony. This, however, is saying, no, this is time to look at the shadow and possibly clear the shadow, to be humble enough to look at those shadowy bits of our humanity, of our humanness, that we may have exiled or pushed down or repressed. It could be anger. Mars is anger. It could be rage. It could be deep red rage that comes up for no particular reason. Or there might be a trigger based on the Grand Cross. So there might be a trigger from family, there might be a trigger from past, there might be a trigger of an old wounding, there might be a trigger from relationship. So just being aware of that. Some of you are not going to feel that. You might feel it more if you have planets at any of these degrees, which I won't go into because there's too many. On the 23rd of October, the Sun enters Scorpio for its journey through Scorpio. So then we'll have a new moon in a month's time in Scorpio. We'll have a full moon mid-month, including Scorpio. So there is a Scorpionic theme coming to the fore as Pluto now moves direct and moves through forward. So this is a theme that's going to continue for a few weeks, possibly even a few months. Now, involved in this water trine, this beautiful water trine, a trine is a release, and it is allowing us to liberate ourselves from the blockages, to actually clear some blockages which might be holding us back. So I've spoken about it before. I've said that Pluto is often I see Pluto as the planet of, it's the plumber, Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, okay? So the plumber goes down, sends its rods down into the sewage pipe and pulls out what needs to come out onto the surface so that it can be seen and processed and cleared. And I feel that this new moon and leading up to the new moon and after the new moon is part of that. It's almost saying that something has to shift. And if there's old stuff sitting there and it is being repressed, it's a little bit like a volcano. And this is kind of the lava coming up so that it actually can clear. So if you're feeling intensity, if you're feeling issues coming up with family and ancestry, that's quite normal, because part of this grand trine, which I'll show on the screen, is you've got the Scorpio bunch, and then that is in this trine to Jupiter, which is in Cancer, which is bringing up possibly family issues, ancestry issues around the home, issues around security. It's amplifying that. It's also amplifying emotional intensity for some people. Now, the other leg of the grand trine is Saturn, which is in the final degrees of Pisces. And Saturn is asking us to find our maturity, to be spiritual masters. So to master these energies by not getting drawn into the drama of them, by standing above them, by seeing them but not being absorbed by them, by finding our center. And that center is the center of the storm, which I often refer to. It's the center of the scales, of the Libran scales. And it's the center where, being in this grand water trine, we're able to hold a space for whatever emotion might be arising, as opposed to repressing it and saying, no, it doesn't exist. I don't have the shadow. I'm shadowless. Well, no. All of us on the human dimension, in the human dimension, have shadows. We don't live in the shadows. We see the shadows. We acknowledge the shadows. Because if we repress them, they become like volcanoes. And then they come out in different ways. They can come out through illness. They can come out through explosive behavior, or many other different ways. So this is just a very gentle water trine supporting us with maturity in looking at these shadows, in looking at what keeps us stuck, in looking at our fears. What are our fears? And then I think in an even more important theme is to, if we need to talk about something, to actually speak about it, to be authentic, authentically honest. Can we be vulnerable? Can we let down the veil? Can we say it like it is without being nasty, but can we actually speak the truth? There's some people now on Instagram that have been running a challenge to a lot of content creators to actually just show up unfiltered, to show up without, beautiful filters on them that make them look 25, and to speak from their hearts, whatever's going on in their hearts. And I'm finding it really, really refreshing, particularly in the age of AI, when everything seems fake and nobody really looks like they look on camera because there's filters and edits and all sorts of things, and you actually can't tell the truth from the fake. So what is true? I think that is a huge question that we're asking ourselves. What is true and what is real? And all we need to do is go outside, stand in the rain, stand with your feet on the grass, watch a bird fly by and land on a tree. Watch water. Really look at water. Really look at a plant. Feel into what is real beneath the surface of the unreal. Because this is going to get more unreal as AI continues to explode. So where do we find our balance? Where do we find our center point? We find it inside, not outside. This is not, I don't believe, about any kind of politician coming to save us or anything else coming to save us. We do. We are what we've been waiting for. This is our journey. And we get to actually choose what reality we want to live in. So we need to look at what is true and what is real and what is honest, more than we've ever done before. And find the peace beneath the surface of all the drama, but also be prepared to look into the corners, to clear whatever is there out. So this is a clearing. It's kind of a shadow clearing is what I'm seeing. So hopefully that helps you in some way to navigate it. Could get intense. It could be wonderful. It could be breakthroughs that you haven't had before. You could feel very, very creative during this. In fact, creativity would be a beautiful way to work with this energy, to actually allow it to flow. So I'm just going to say that when you feel resistant, if you feel angry, if you feel an emotion coming up, can you hold a space via Saturn, the wise teacher, to just sit with it, not to actually do anything with it? You can express it out on your own, into the air, into the ground, whatever it is, not harming anybody if you need to express it, but feel it deeply. Don't try to analyze it, strategize your way out of it. Figure out why this has happened, when it happened. Can you just feel it? And that, I feel, that is working with this water trine to help us release it so that we actually get stronger and stronger and more resilient. So the card that actually literally dropped out of the pack today was from the Oracle of the Sacred Horse by Kathy Pike and Laura Pringle, artwork by Laura Pringle. It's exquisite artwork. And this card is Black Carbon. Now, I've never heard Black Carbon. Here comes the rain again. Yay! Black Carbon is embrace your secrets, self-acceptance, and inner harmony. I mean, you really, really cannot make this up. Okay. I'm going to read the whole thing because it's very, very, very valid. Black Carbon gazes at you with gentleness. You can close your eyes if you like. His steady eye and strong posture reflect deep benevolence. He represents deep balance of inner energies. The chemical element carbon consists of both diamond and graphite, light and shadow. Black Carbon is here to guide you more deeply into yourself, into your shadow, where lies all you wish to hide from others and what you cannot accept about yourself. See what I mean? The horses of earth live without judgment of themselves or others. They do not make themselves feel less than, nor do they digress into the detrimental inner dialogue of self-deprecation that humans often experience. The derogatory internal communication is wasted energy. Black Carbon wants you to lift you out of any negative thought patterns you may be experiencing into a place where you can feel more accepting of yourself, of your light and your shadows. All beings have a darker side, and yours offers depth and profound learning. Black Carbon sees the secrets you keep in the dark. You hide them with shame, fearing the rejection that may ensue if others were to know. Yet there is power in the darkness, and what you hide cannot stay hidden forever. Black carbon reminds you to love all aspects of yourself, the good, the average, and the complex. I'm going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly. Your self-judgment creates a wall between you and others. Listen to that. Your self-judgment creates a wall between you and others. Every negative thought you have about yourself lowers your vibration. Black carbon wants you to love yourself unconditionally. Put aside thoughts of whether you're good or bad, right or wrong, accepting or deserving of rejection. Instead, come to a place where you believe you are 100% embraceable, just the way you are. Self-acceptance increases inner harmony. Experiencing harmony within yourself is a giant step forward. It'll help you make peace with how others are with you, and you will more readily detach from codependent behaviors. How someone treats you tells you about them, not necessarily about what you deserve. Be kind, compassionate, loving, and accepting of yourself. No one can make you feel any other way. Because what basically happens is we say, this person made me feel like this. No, that was already in you, and that person triggered it. That's it. That's what they did. Your inner thoughts and feelings are your own. All well-being starts inside you. When you do not wish to be any other way than you are in this moment, just in this moment, and wholeheartedly accept yourself, you find freedom. You are worthy. You have great inner balance. Embracing yourself may change how others respond to you. Some may be drawn closer, others may withdraw, but their choices cannot rock your inner harmony. When you find harmony within yourself and bring it to the world, all things will come from this place. Find your center. Accept yourself. You are a child of darkness and light. Remember, you come from a womb of dark graphite and brilliant diamond. You are a unique being of immeasurable worth, and only you can claim that knowing for yourself. Only you can honor yourself and realize inner harmony. When you do it, it will create more peace and balance for everything and everyone around you. The questions: do you judge yourself? Why? And are the judgments true? You could also ask there, do you judge others? Why? And are those judgments true? How do you bring yourself out of inner harmony? It's a good question. Are you ready to release those habits? Are there parts of yourself that you have not accepted? And how might it serve you to accept your humanity and bring more compassion to the darker aspects of yourself? I can't say it better than that. That's really, really valid combination and clarification for me of this new moon. So be compassionate with yourself and others. Bring yourself back into inner harmony as often as you can, but allow yourself to feel what you feel at this new moon. Create that space. Scorpio, the grand water trine, it's a lake of water. That's a holding space for any emotions that might rise in a safe place. So I hope that helps you in some way. If you'd like to explore these very big themes that are coming up and still valid and still very much working, remember we have all the major planets, the bigger outer planets, all moving into new signs. And this is a time when old grief is coming up, old processed, unprocessed stuff is coming up to be cleared, so that we're moving into whatever is awaiting us as these major shifts happen in the collective and personally. So if you'd like to see where that plays out in your chart, you're welcome to book a reading for me. I'm going to take a break over December, so there might be a bit of a wait because November's booking up quite quickly. So if you do want to book something, maybe book it quicker and sooner than later. But take care, be kind, be present, bring yourself back into the center of the center of the wheel, into the center of the scales.